Welcome, children. I've got a story to tell you about the old times. Now, I just wanted to say, look, Zoomers, I have some Zoomer friends, and they are very intelligent. They've had access to the internet for a while. They've had teachers that have come from different walks of life, and they have subjects that they are able to do. I remember back in the day growing up, there were things that I wanted to do and I wanted to achieve, and maybe I wanted to be in a certain career path that just were not on offer to study, particularly in my city, in my country. And now the whole world is opened up and you can go anywhere and do anything. I mean, you always have been able to, but it just seemed a little bit harder to pack up, leave, go to the other end of the world, study for 4 years and come back. It just seemed that it was hard, particularly if you were like me. I was like a bit of like a family girl. I came from a culture both my parents had very, very large families, and so they were used to helping members of their family and generally being around for the other members of their family's lives. So I kind of stuck semi-close, and so that would have been really hard for me too. These days I don't think it would have been, as someone that age, to be able to do that, because there are places and things when you're overseas that there are people that can help you. Not that we didn't before, but it just was a little bit harder. And so anyway, what I wanted to say is that I was watching some of my streamers today, and some of the commentary between each topic, commentary that one of the streamers was doing was saying, you know, get yourself an old friend, trust me. Well, I don't know if he said that specifically or particularly. I almost said specifically. That's one of my hates when people do that. Holy shit. So I'm not sure if it said that specifically, but in my head it was kind of like ding ding, because it's one of the things I've wanted to say, and my Zoomer friends can tell, and my what is the generation just under me? Is it Zoomer? People that I know that are 12 years younger than me, and the people that I've met that are 18 years old, they kind of get it, but a lot of people might not. I'm getting to the age where I'm an old person. What I wanted to say is that people my age, I think that younger people, if you are awake and you are just waking up to what's happening in the world and going, hang on a second, that's a bit strange. Forcing people to take a medical procedure, otherwise you're going to fire them from their job. That's a bit strange. Classified documents stored in the garage, that's a bit strange. Like, if you're just noticing things and coming up, thank goodness, thank God for you. A lot of people don't. A lot of people get to say my age and start waking up. And that wasn't me. I was blessed to have a parent that was very suspicious of all things government related and very awake to the things that could go wrong, and had a encompassing education on these types of things. I was born pretty awake to corruption and the manipulative ideas that those in charge had to get the masses to do what they want to benefit them. People thought I was a nerd. I was always the one reading. I was always the one asking weird questions that nobody understood, or said, oh, look, I don't care. Is that there are some people that just don't care about stuff, or they will never notice the corruption around them or the manipulation or anything like that. But there are some. And I'm going to say to the young'uns, get a friend like me, son. Someone that's now getting into, not the twilight years, but almost, hell, we're considered older now. But get yourself someone like me, because we're a child of both worlds. We've lived pre-9/11, post-9/11, pre-tech, post-tech. Those that have been semi-awake or awake sort of before all this, we've seen the writing on the wall due to parents that were wise. And we've got that knowledge that sometimes people growing up today don't have yet, or might have a different variation of when they're older. Get yourself one of us. Listen to one of us, because we're coming at it from the days where the phone was still attached to the wall, and if you wanted that cute boy to ring you, you better sit your ass down and stay home on that Saturday, just in case, because there was no way he was getting you on any sort of mobile device. You had to remember your best friend's phone number if you were out, and if you were late to meet a friend, that was bad, because there was no way you could text them and be like, oh shit, traffic is crap, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Nah, you just had to be there or you weren't there. I was pretty near the beginnings of gaming. I was fortunate enough to grow up with the technology of computers, from, you know, green screen to HD to 3 monitors in front of you and an awesome gaming setup. I'm a child of both worlds. I didn't get here with all the stuff already set up. You know, I had the Walkman and the Discman and we grew up alongside the development of the technology that everybody that's born after that kind of takes for granted, and understandably so. And that makes me a formidable intellectual weapon against the global elite and against the people that think they got the jump on us. In a lot of aspects, they do. But that is why my suggestion is to Zoomers, I don't know how you're going to do it. Through the gaming community is usually easier because there's so many different types of people and everything. But I would recommend getting yourself a friend that's a little bit older that can tell you how it was before. Because before, like I was saying, just for example, with the meeting your friend and not having to text you late or whatever, you made sure that your ass was early then. The values have been allowed to change through the technology, just in that little aspect. You know, I do it too. I'll leave the house with 10 minutes to spare, text, oh, sorry, I'm a bit late or whatever. But if this was, I don't know, say the late 90s, you wouldn't have done that. You would have called them on the phone and said, I'm going to be there at 12. And you would freaking be there at 11:45 because there was no room for error. So things like that have changed. And those small things, I think, carry values through from the old world into the new world can help as well. Because with those, it gives you the foresight and it gives you a discipline for yourself before OHS and HR told you how to live your life and how to interpret common sense. People like me are pre-Patriot Act. People like me are pre-ASIO sitting in on your private interactions in your personal messages and DMs. People like me saw the second plane hit live and how they used it to put in the measures that they now have today. And some of them ain't so great, as you are finding out. So my advice to Zoomies and anyone after, pay attention to the older crew that are awake. Because the last decade or so has really shown me how things change and how history does live in the eyes of the beholder. I've watched the world change. Yeah, you're using technology to try and control the masses, but that technology is also used to spread the knowledge that some of us have. And once again, people like me are intellectual weaponry against the agendas that they are trying to now push. News cycles get shorter and shorter, people's memories get shorter and shorter, and Google wormholes a bunch of stuff that was fact, that was known fact, and now come up as the first search result on Wikipedia as a conspiracy theory. I hate that term. I will be doing an episode on that at some stage. Get one of us, because we're not boomers, as in we lived our lives and then suddenly this technology advanced and we got kind of left in the dust a bit, and we're not young enough that we grew up with all these things already in place. They're just kind of getting a bit better as the time goes on. We grew up smack bang in the center of two worlds merging, and that goes for how we approach dating, that goes for how we approach schooling and respect to elders and all that kind of stuff. All of this stuff is fused together between two worlds. And so I'd like to think we have a good smorgasbord kind of spread that we can pick things from and tell you how it was, because it wasn't that long ago. And the acceleration of the change that's coming in through all these different countries, and things like digital ID and vaccine passports and all the rest of that stuff, that wasn't happening. We heard rumblings. Some of us didn't think it would happen. Some of us knew of the pillars of the truth movement. Say, for example, Alex Jones, before he got a little bit too unhinged and got very scary and very sweary. People like that, we were there to hear these figures have these ideas before and to look into things. And before places in social media and the giants took over and started censoring things and limiting your reach to be able to speak about such things or to be influenced by government bodies. So please, borrow from us the way we think about things, the way we can still read between the lines, the way we can analyze things based on our history and our experiences pre and post heck and 9/11 and everything that we've lived through. Borrow from us. We're not talking shit. Well, some of us are, but pick and choose what you need. But we are definitely a wealth of information. It's not a boomer. Don't want to be one of those people that's asking you to sub and like, but if you feel like commenting or liking, that would help me out. It'll give me the power to do more of these episodes.